Okay, hi. It's Skip from Skip's Messy Workbench, and I'm hand holding the camera at this time for this one clip. I just wanted to do this handheld before I go on the tripod. Actually, before I just put the camera down and go back to work again. Anyway, what I did on the 41 Plymouth was inside the trunk there. I think you can see I made I scratch built a back piece of the trunk because otherwise it would have went up all the way through. It looked horrible. You could see the hump in the chassis for the drive shaft. So I scratch built a plate, and I used a method that I learned from Mark Batson, actually, and I used a contour gauge. And it's funny, now I knew what a contour gauge was. I had one, but I never thought about using it for model building. But anyway, I used it to get the contours correct for the inside of the fender wells and also on the inside of the body where the body curves. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. By the way, Mark is at HobbyDude007 and great modeler. What I did first was I made a cardboard template out from my gauge, and then I used this and transferred it off to some sheet styrene, and it came out pretty bad. It came out pretty good. I'm fairly new to scratch building, so I'm actually pretty happy with it at this point. We'll see how it looks once things get glued together. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work and continue, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Actually, I've been gone for several hours since that last little clip. Anyway, I got a fair amount done today as far as little things, and there's a lot of small parts to both of these cars, the 41 pickup, Chevy Pickup, and the 41 Plymouth Coupe. There's a lot of really small parts, and I don't have a dehydrator, so as I'm painting them, I then need to let them set. I like to let them set for at least a full day, sometimes two, before I start working. So what I had done is, and if you watch the last video that I didn't have a glossy gray or a semi-gloss gray. So I did get to my local hobby shop and also Hobby Lobby. So a combination of Hobby Lobby and my local hobby shop is named Trains and Lanes. And I picked up a whole bunch of the Vallejo style paints. They had quite a few, and I got quite a few different colors. I have never used the Vallejo paints, so this will be new for me. And I also picked up some Mission model paints, some colors that I think I'm going to want. Now, I've used Mission before, and it works really nice. The one thing that I have learned is that because of my really limited expertise in paint, believe me, I'm not a very good painter. Actually, if you've gone to my website, one of the things right on my homepage is a little play on a saying that is attributed to Dorothy Parker, who is a writer, that says that she hated writing but loved having written. Well, I kind of coined that a little bit and said, I hate painting but love having painted. Anyway, what I've learned is when you're using whatever brand paint I'm using, I also want to use the thinner from that company, and also if I'm using a retarder, I want to use a retarder from that. So I could not find the Vallejo flow improvers or the thinners at my local shop, but I did get them. So you'll see I have an airflow improver, an airbrush flow improver, and an airbrush thinner for Vallejo, which I found you know, I dealt with two different places. It was either eBay or one of the other websites that I use for model supplies, Mega Hobbies, I believe it was. So I got some of those. I've already had, excuse me, I've already had some thinner and flow retarder for the missions because I've used that before. So I kind of did that, and then I did a couple of test spoons to see just how they were going to look. And I haven't decided yet on whether I want to use one of these grays. I have another gray that I didn't test yet for the body on the 41 Chevy Pickup, but I did choose one of these, and it was this one here for the engine in the 41 Pickup. So with that, I did get those items painted, and you can see them over here in the rack. I have them drying. I'll zoom in here a little bit, and there is the engine for the 41 Plymouth Coupe. Now, according to what I found online for the factory specifications, the engine on the 41 Plymouth came in silver. So I used the mission model, what's called RC Racing Silver for that. So I did the engine, and that's now just waiting to dry. And then I also did the engine for the 41 Chevy Pickup, which is also a mission model paint, RC Gray. Now that's not finished yet because the transmission and the transmission and flywheel housing are going to be done in steel. So there's a bunch of other little parts like the coil springs. I guess I got to get zoomed out here again. Well, there's a bunch of other little parts over on this rack that I have just drying. And like I said, I need to wait until that paint dries. But I also did the coil springs for the 41 Plymouth Coupe in a I'm sorry, my throat's kind of weird today. Anyway, I did it in a semi-gloss black, and then I'm going to highlight the top edges of the spring with some silver, with some steel. So I got that, and I did some of the smaller parts for the 41 Coupe, the battery, the air cleaner, and the air cleaner top. I got that finished up. And then I also did the rear end of the 41 Plymouth Coupe. I got the coil springs mounted. Coil spring. Boy, sorry about that. My camera fell. Not the coil springs. I got the leaf springs mounted. I got the rear end differential mounted and the rear shocks mounted. I don't like those shocks. I might do something different with those. But anyway, I got that, and I'll be doing the front end as soon as those springs dry, because the springs go in these pockets right here. So I got to wait till I'm done painting those to assemble that front end. So I got that done. The other thing I did was I made not only that back stop for the, for the trunk in the 41 Plymouth, but I also mounted the hinge, and I got to rip it out again because it's not working correctly. It's the first time I've done it. So when it does open a little bit, but I want it to open a lot more than that. So I got to rip that out of there. And I used Loctite on these points. If anybody has any ideas of how to easily get Loctite off or break that bond without, cutting the heck out of it, I'd certainly like to know about it. Please leave me a comment in the description or send me an email, something. If you've got a way to break the bond on Loctite super glue. So I should have used something more temporary, but I thought for sure they were going to work, but they didn't. And okay, hey, it's a learning experience for me. Anyway, so that's done, or it's done to the point where I know it doesn't work. So I'll be fixing that. All right, so I spent quite a bit of time on that whole thing, and you know, we're making some progress. I fortunately had almost a full day today in the shop to be able to work. Somebody didn't bother me today. Nobody bothered me today. Also, one other thing is, boy, I'm really bouncing around here, is I got the rear shocks mounted on the 41 Chevy Pickup. They're right in here. So I got the rear shocks mounted in there. So this is really right now just waiting for the engine so I could put the drive shaft in. And I didn't put the wheel on it yet because I don't like the way the wheels are mounted on these hubs. It would be very easy to have them, I call it pigeon toe. So I'm waiting a little bit. I'm going to wait for a while. It's not necessary that they have to be on there at this moment anyway. So anyway, that's about it for today. I just thought I'd pop on here real quick and do a little bit of a update again. We're getting there. Oh, another thing I did was I made my own distributor for the 41 Plymouth Coupe. The one that came with it was way too small. It was way out of scale. So I made my own here. I didn't paint it yet because I just built it. That little copper wire I used for the shaft, that has to be trimmed. But I can't mount it anyway because the engine paint is still pretty wet. So even for acrylics, it's not drying real good today. So anyway, that's about it. I've mumbled on enough. And thanks again for watching. And listen, if you like it, give me that thumbs up, would you please? Helps the algorithm. Anyway, hey, thanks a lot for watching this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. I want to thank you all for watching, and if you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you can give it a thumbs down, but you know, I would prefer a thumbs up. And do me a favor, if you really liked it, smack that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I release new videos, give that bell a ring and set it to all. I don't release a lot of videos, so I won't be bugging you that much. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.